Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Enlightened World Network. We do a meditation a day here every day, and today I'm so excited about our presenter who is going to guide us in a beautiful meditation. I've experienced Belkis before on our meditations a day and on the Day of Transformation that we have been doing here at Enlightened World Network, and what a beautiful, beautiful soul. So, Belkis Clarke Mitcham, welcome to Enlightened World Network's Meditation a Day.
Thank you very much, Terry. It's definitely a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that I get to experience this while you're doing it today. So I'm just going to leave it to you to bless us, and then I'll be back with you afterward.
I thank you. Today's meditation basically deals with healing life's wounds. And at some point in our lives, each one of us would have been faced with circumstances, been through challenges that left what seems like a scar, that point of pain or tenderness. And it is important for us to get to a place where those wounds can be healed, not that we just cover them over or ignore them, but that they heal. So as we delve into this, I want you to be totally relaxed. I want you to just take a deep breath with me. Just breathe in and breathe out. Slowly breathe in, breathe out, and feel those muscles. Feel all of your neck relaxing, feel across your shoulders relaxing, feel your entire body just being grounded and connected to itself and just totally relax. Almost as if you're a little bit mushy right now and also soft inside. That's the place where you want to get. And you want to ignore all the distractions, both those externally and those internally. And if the distractions are really getting to you, take a moment, write it out, write down what's distracting you so that you can surrender it, you can let it go. And as we get focused, we got rid of our distractions, so now we're getting focused. I want you to ask yourself a question. Ask yourself, in what area of my life am I at a standstill? So we're zoning in now. In what area of your life, ask yourself, self, in what area of life am I at a standstill and why? And think about that for a moment. Think about the questions. Close your eyes if you need to, because sometimes our eyes are open and we see everything else. But really focus on the question. All the thoughts that keep trying to come in, just block them. Where in my life am I at a standstill and why? And just enjoy being in God's presence. Maybe you might hear him speak to you, and maybe in this moment he might not, but just enjoy the presence of God, him surrounding you and reassuring you and just keeping you grounded and keeping it together. Just a centering of your being. Now we're going to focus on a passage of scripture today. I want to meditate on that because, and not everyone necessarily biblically oriented, but this story is life applicable regardless of believe, of where your faith is at, whether it's big, little, almost non-existent. I wanted to share it with you. And it's taken from John chapter 5, verses 1 to 9. And I'm just going to read this quickly for you. And it starts out, sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for a feast of the Jews. Now there is in Jerusalem near the sheep gate a pool, which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to lie, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, Do you want to get well? Sir, the invalid replied, I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is. While I am trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me. Then Jesus said to him, get up, pick up your mat, and walk. At once the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. There are three things that stood out generally for me in that scripture. Jesus went to the place of need. A lot of the times we don't want to go to the place of our need, and that's the place where we need healing. Jesus went to the place of need, and he speak with the disabled man. He spoke to the problem. We want our problems to be healed. We want our hurts to be healed. We want to move from where we are, but we don't want to address what's really bugging us. We give all kinds of fancy things and we said maybe it's this and maybe it's that, but we know what the problem is. And a lot of the times we seem scared to really get to the root of the problem and speak to the problem. And then Jesus gave him an invitation. The thing with invitations is that you got a choice. You accept it or you reject it, and that is where a lot of the times we either get stuck or we start moving. Now, let's talk about willingness. This man did not approach Jesus. He was there in his space for 38 years waiting. The theory behind the pool is that when it was stirred, people believe when it was stirred that there were healing powers. So you had to get in first when it's stirred. But of course, you're crippled. Huh. Think about it for a moment. You can't really move like everybody else. Or if you're blind, you might just end up in the wrong direction, walking into something else. So here's this man, and he did not approach Jesus. He didn't ask him anything. He didn't ask to be healed. In fact, Jesus was the one who approached him, and he threw out a challenge to this man who had been disabled for 38 years. He asked, do you want to get well? Jesus' question has made people, many people speculate about maybe the man felt like he no longer wanted help. Maybe he just had accepted his situation. Maybe he felt trapped and helpless, and he was no longer willing to try. It's to tell. He didn't even answer Jesus' question directly. Jesus asked, do you want to get help? Do you want to get well? But what does the man do? Instead, he gives an explanation of why he hadn't been healed yet. How many times in your life, when you are asked the question, what do you want? Do you want to be healed? You start out with all the reasons and the excuses why you cannot or will not do what you have to do. I know I've been there. I've been there so many times in my life that I ask, what is it you really want? You want to overcome? I'd been through childhood sexual abuse, and for many, many years, I would tell people yes, but it was because that was the expected answer. It wasn't what I really wanted until one day when I was really asked, and I was so sick and tired and fed up of the ricocheting impact of abuse that I realized deep down in my soul what I wanted the most. I did not want to be depressed anymore. I didn't want the suicidal tendencies anymore. I did not want to feel disassociated from myself. I wanted to know what happiness was. I stopped yearning for the childhood that I'd lost and decided I wanted a future that was different to the childhood I had. And so yeah, I got to that place where I said, yes, I want to be healed. How many times have you been in the position where you've been asked, you want to get well? Do you want to be healed? And I'm not just talking about physical well, I'm talking about emotionally well, financially well, spiritually well, psychologically well, well in every single area of your life. But you've had a million and one excuse. If I do, but I've tried. And if I do this, then I think this is what will happen. Or I'm too old. Or I went to therapy and it didn't work. Or it helped for a bit, but, and you're just stuck. And so you've got, like this man, you've got a million one reason, but you're not answering the question. So I'm asking you today, do you want to get well? Think about that for a moment. And when, if you've, sometimes we've gotten so used to a bad situation that we quit trying. I've met I've met many people quit trying. There are many times I wanted to quit. Many times I wanted to quit trying, but I'm stubborn somewhere in there, and I'm determined that I can have my happiness. That's how I was dogmatic about it. I was persistent, and I did not want the negativity and the toxic environment anymore. And so I went after the change wholeheartedly. I was like a dog with a bone, not letting it go. There had to be change. So a lot of the times we get used to the bad situation, and we just quit. We quit trying and figure it is what it is, and we'll accept it. And Jesus, will see me through, and at least it will get better in the sweet by and by and over yonder and when we die. But you're not just here to suffer through until you die with the hope that you'll have a better eternity. You got to be willing to try. And maybe you're like the man. He said, his reply was, I have no one to help me. Have you ever experienced where you felt as if there were no friends, no relative, to count on in certain matters, that you felt so alone? No, I remember days, oh my goodness, you feel, you get those days that hit you hard. It seems as if everything is coming at you left, right, and center. And everybody that I call, messaged, seemed not to respond in the moment that I needed them most. Now, that's no fault of theirs, really. People have their lives and they get busy and they don't know what's going on with me in that moment. But have you ever been there where you felt there was no one? Maybe you picked up the phone to call somebody and no one is answering. Maybe you called several people, maybe you sent some messages, but it just seemed in that particular moment that there's nobody there. And you feel as if it's just you alone and this battle that you're going through in the entire universe. Maybe you lack the resources that you need, So think about it for a moment, and you can people, you can write this down. List a few areas in your life that you feel like you're at a standstill. Maybe it's an experience, and maybe it's something financially, maybe it's spiritually. Whatever it is, list the areas that you feel that you're at a standstill. And you may say to yourself, I would resolve this situation, but I'm lacking something. Some be aware of what the something is. Sometimes we're not quite as aware. We're not sure what it is that we are lacking. So let's start with this. Answer this one of these questions. Is it that you're anxious to resolve this? Do you feel like, yes, I really want to resolve this? Or do you feel, if I thought it would work, I would give it a try? Is that where you're at? Or maybe you're not sure that you want to resolve it. Which one of those? Are you anxious to resolve it? Are you thinking, I would, if I think it would work, I would give it a try? Or are you just not sure that you want to resolve this issue? Because not because an issue is keeping us stuck or keeping us back, do we always want to resolve it? Quite honestly, and I'm going to be quite frank with you, some people, a lot of the times are quite comfortable in their chaos, in their pain. It becomes a crutch, it becomes an environment they identify with because at least they know it, and change it and they're not sure what they're going to get. So they've learned to just become comfortable in the crazy chaos of their life, the hurt, the pain, that stuck feeling. They just an excuse. But there's some of you who are anxious to change it, you know? And if you are ready to change it, let me ask, are you willing? There's a difference. The majority of people I know who are going through a hard time, going through a troubling time, going through something that has them stuck, would say, yes, I want to change it. Most people would. But the question is, are you willing to take that risk? Are you are you in a place where you're saying, you know what? I know it's the right thing to do, to be willing, but I'm not sure that I am willing. This is where we get honest with yourself. You know, it sounds good to say I'm willing. You know, that's what is expected of you, but you're not quite sure that you're ready because you know it's going to demand something of you that you might not be ready to give. It might ask of you things that you don't want to even delve in, things you've packed up and stuck away and you don't want to open up. So, though it might be the right thing, you may not be willing because of what it might demand of you. And maybe you're saying, no, I've already tried so hard and I don't want to risk failing. Yeah, we've been there, huh? That fear of failure. You don't want to look like a fool. You don't want to dredge up stuff and then just to end back up there, maybe it would not work. But you've got, do you want to get well? And if you're willing to take the risk. If you're not willing, then this is where you stop. But if you are, let me take you a little bit further. We read the passage. Take another look at the passage and picture that scene in your mind as if it's a movie. You know, in all my research, I didn't know if the place actually existed or if it over time or whatever. But there's this pool and fed by other springs, and it whirls about at certain points. And it's at the sheep gate, which means a busy place. And in the midst of all this busyness, there is this beautiful pool that holds the answer for the one thing that you want the most. Just picture that scene for a moment and picture yourself as the man. Whatever your problem you're facing now, picture yourself as that man, disabled, stuck, lying there for 38 years. So you put yourself in his place and being asked, do you want to be healed? Think about how you'd feel stuck there. The pool is right there. It's not too far away. Your answer is right there, not too far away, but you cannot move towards it. Just think about how you'd feel. I would be frustrated. I might get depressed and discouraged. And then maybe at another point, I might feel hopeful. I think there will be this whole wave of emotions. So put yourself in his position and then say you've gone through the range of emotions 38 years from hope and back again, and in comes this dude prodding at you. Maybe you try and take a nap because pool ain't moving right now, and he comes poking at you and goes like, do you want to be well? Now that will sure tick me off just a little bit, because I might be thinking, do you think I'm just sitting here to look pretty? Of course, so you're there 38 years and he comes and asks about being willing. Do you want to get up and walk? And maybe for a moment you might picture what about the possibilities of it, what you will do first, where you will go. So when you put yourself in that man's position, Just try to feel what he may have been feeling. But you might need to picture it or imagine it too much because you know what it feels like. You know what it feels like to get stuck. You know what it feels like for people to ask you if you're willing and you get frustrated at it and you just don't want to because they feel like you're not doing anything about it. And then I want you to stop and really reread that passage again. And what phrase jumps out at you? Maybe it's the phrase that says 38 years and no one to help because you've been in a position where you felt like you've had no one to help you. You've been going through one thing after another, and you felt like it's been so long. Tired, and you feel beaten, and you feel weary, and you feel disheartened. Maybe that's the part that stuck with you. Or maybe as you reread it, would be the question, do you want to get well? As I prepared this meditation, that was the part that stood out for me. Now, different things will stand out for different people. But that question, do you want to get well, made me again start to re-examine life, about the places in my life that I might be struggling, not quite healed. And I stopped for a moment, really thought about it, and asked my that question just kept going over and over and over in my mind. Do you want to get well? Because that's where it begins, isn't it? Or maybe as you reread the passage, it would be the part where he picked up his mat and walk, because that speaks of hope, and that speaks of possibility, and that speaks of miracles, and that speaks of the unprecedented, and that speaks of an interruption of what have been bugging you and keeping you hurting you for 38 or however many years you've been facing it. It speaks of change. It speaks of difference. It speaks of a promise. It speaks of something going forward. It speaks of movement. And that's all that you just want, to just move from where you are now to the next step. So reread the passage and and you write down what phrase stands out most to you. And then think about the invitation that God might be extending to you. Perhaps God is extending an invitation in this passage. Do something or be something in the next few days, the next few weeks, maybe the next month. What might that be? And he sit quiet, think about it. What do I need to do or be in order to get well? What do I need to do or be in order to achieve my dreams? What do I need to do or be in order to heal? What do I need to do or be in order to move forward, to become unstuck, to not be so angry, to not be to dry my tears? What do I need to be able to laugh freely and know that it's not that it comes from the center of who I am? What do you need to be or do to get to where you need to be? And that is the question that I want to leave with you. What do you need to be? Or what do you need to do to activate your healing, whether it be spiritual healing, physical healing, mental healing, financial healing, emotional healing, whether it be to achieve a dream, to to activate some purpose in your life, to be elevated to a next level, to just be unstuck. What do you need to do or be? It's been long enough and it's your time to move. Thank you so much for joining me here on Daily Meditations. It's definitely a pleasure. We'd love to hear some feedback from you. Anything you learned? What did you walk away with? What struck you? What you didn't even like? It'd be awesome to hear. Thank you for joining us.
Belkis, that was amazing and so needed. I want to personally thank you because I needed those words. I really needed this message today. And I think a lot of times when I know that there needs to be some action, it's the fear that holds me back. So maybe people are resonating with that as well. That you're afraid to take that step out to make that change, but it's so rewarding, as you were saying, when you
Yes,
do.
it is. Yes, it is.
Because we had one person, Cynthia, that asked what the passage was. If you can just share
Oh,
that.
oh, yeah, that was taken from John chapter 5, verses 1 to 9.
Thank you.
No
Thank you
problem
for
at all.
sharing. And what a wonderful message. And people were really resonating with what you were sharing. And it came at such a very needed time in our world today as well.
Oh, it
What
is
can we do?
chaotic and crazy
Yeah.
um, in a lot of ways and so stressful.
Mhm.
And it is easy to say, here, what? I'm not going to do anything. You just throw your hands up.
Right.
Yeah. But no matter what the circumstances are, we gotta keep moving. It's all about the type and kinds of moves that we make. And if we really listen to our turn inwards and we listen to what God is saying, we will. You know what I always tell people when they get afraid? I've practiced this a lot in my life, Terry. When I get afraid and I'm not quite sure it's the right move, a God move, a designed move, or whatever, I trust Him to have my back. That if I take the move and it's not the right move, He cushions me or he diverts me. You
Right.
gotta have that trust. But just standing still and saying, I think one of the things that there are times to stand still, but one of the things that frustrate me a lot when persons come to me is when they go like, yeah, I'm just waiting. What are you we already wired with things and certain desires. I'm like, if God could come in and breathe for us, we would wait for that too.
It's so true. It's so true. You are right on point.
Make a move and trust Him to guide. He says your steps are ordered. So trust. Don't just, and I'm not talking about just rush off and do whatever you want. I'm talking about, I'm going to take one little step, but my ears are open. It's like with my daughter. Sometimes maybe she wants to walk on a little plank or something. And she's going to try, but she's going to put her foot up and then she's looking at mommy as if to see, is this really okay? She trusts that mommy will not let her step on that plank if it's not sturdy. That's what God is for us. Trust Him that if you're stepping out onto your plank, that you can look at Him and He'd say, "Go ahead, my child," or not. You will know, but you've just got to take a step. And you recognize that voice. The more you immerse yourself in Him and His Word, it becomes more familiar. So
Yes.
you don't need to spend 38 years.
Right. Or for some of us, even longer.
Even longer.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I certainly appreciate this word today and all that you brought to us with your beautiful energy and your beautiful love. And that's our word for the day, everyone. Trust, trust. And I'm right there. I'm at that place of listening now and trusting that what I'm hearing is from God and I'm following my path. So feel into that inside energy. It won't lie to you. The heart will never lie. So go in and find what your message is and what your path is. So thank you. Belkis, how can people find you if they want more of your energy and more of the wonderful stuff that you bring forward in the world?
One of the two most popular places people can find me on Facebook is Belkis Clarke. They can find Belkis Clarke Mitcham. On Instagram, definitely. Those are the two places. Whichever platform they're more familiar with, they can definitely find me. Feel free to reach out, send me a message, say hi and hello. If you feel stuck somewhere, let's talk. If you're looking to get your passions revving and running, let's talk. Facebook or Instagram.
Awesome. Well, I certainly hope that our audience will do that because You're just beautiful, and your energy is so amazing. Thank you for the blessing that you are in the world. I'm so happy that I found you here at Enlightened World Network and get more of your energy as you come on and do these meditations for us as well.
Well, it's certainly a pleasure, Terry. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. So stay with us here at Enlightened World Network. We still have more programming every day. We try to bring positive, uplifting programs, and we have something new that just started yesterday here at Enlightened World Network. We are doing a prayer room. It's called EWN 24-hour prayer room, and it will be manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you are at a place where you want to reach out and have somebody hold your hand, have them lift you up in prayer, or a loved one, or some concern that you have, just go to that page. You can find it on Facebook very easily. It's the only one of its kind, EWN prayer, um, 24-hour prayer room. And just leave us a message if there's something that we can help you with so you don't feel alone. Just put that message in there to us, and someone will get back to you and let you know you're not alone. You're being helped in your time of need, and lifting that up in prayer. So I'm so excited about that new ministry that we're doing at EWN. Today at noon, we have Sharon Rhea coming on with her message of no judgment, just love. So you can tune in and find that right here at Enlightened World. At 3 o'clock today, I will be bringing messages from the angels, and those messages will be translated into Spanish by Lily Ortega. So that show is Angel Speakers in Espanol. You don't have to speak Spanish to hear it. It'll be in both English and Spanish. At 4 o'clock today, Deb Goldberg is on Angel Heart Radio, and that broadcasts also here at Enlightened World Network. At 7 o'clock, we're doing an Energies of the New World show. And tonight we're talking about tree energy and the messages we can get from nature, from our trees that have such beautiful energy, and connect to that. At 9 o'clock tonight, we do Chanting for Change. We chant two beautiful chants. One of those is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, which puts us in touch with our true, authentic nature as a spiritual being. So we hope you'll tune into that. It's about half an hour. It's at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And then right after that, at 10 o'clock Eastern, you'll be able to hear this meditation again that Belkis just did for us. So there's always lots of enlightening stuff going on here at Enlightened World Network. And we hope that you will find something that meets your needs and something that keeps you uplifted during your day. Belkis, I want to thank you again from myself, from Enlightened World Network, and from our listeners for coming on and sharing with us today. Thank you, darling.
Thank you, Terry.
You're so beautiful, and your energy is wonderful. I really hope that anyone who needs that additional word from you will reach out to you and send you a message.
Yes, I'm here. It's what I do.
Thank you. May you all be blessed and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye for now.